Once upon a time, in a kingdom far, far away, there lived a king who was known for his magnificent collection of rare and extraordinary items. He had treasures from every corner of the world, from sparkling jewels to ancient artifacts. The king took immense pride in his collection and often boasted that he owned the rarest things in the world. One day, a wise man visited the king's realm. The wise man had traveled far and wide gathering knowledge and wisdom. He requested an audience with the king to see his famed collection. The king, eager to show off his treasures, gladly agreed. The wise man examined each item meticulously, nodding appreciatively but never appearing truly impressed. When he had seen everything, the king asked, "Well, wise man, what do you think of my collection?" The wise man replied, "It is indeed impressive, your majesty, but you are missing the best thing of all, a talking tree." The king was intrigued. "A talking tree? Have you seen this tree?" "Not only have I seen it, but I have also heard it speak," said the wise man. "It said, 'I wait and I wait to be saved by someone who's kind, bold, and brave.'" "Where was it?" asked the king, excitement building in his voice. "East of here, but I cannot remember exactly where," the wise man admitted. Determined to add the talking tree to his collection, the king decided to set out on a quest to find it. He believed that having such a unique treasure would make his collection truly unparalleled. The very next morning, the king donned a simple disguise and set off eastward, eager to find the mysterious tree. The king traveled through forests and meadows, over hills and rivers, always heading east. He met many people along the way, farmers tending to their fields, merchants peddling their wares, and children playing by the roadside. Each encounter was a reminder of the kingdom he ruled, but he pressed on, focused on his quest. As the days turned into weeks, the king grew weary. One evening he set up camp by a crystal-clear waterfall. The water sparkled under the moonlight, creating a serene and magical atmosphere. As he lay by the fire, the king suddenly heard a soft, sad voice say, "I wait and I wait to be saved by someone who's kind, bold, and brave." The king jumped up, heart pounding. He looked around but saw nothing. Had he imagined it? He settled back down, trying to convince himself it was just a trick of the wind. But then he heard it again, clearer this time. "I wait and I wait to be saved by someone who's kind, bold, and brave." The king scanned the area and noticed a beautiful tree with elegant, curving branches. The tree seemed to glow in the moonlight, and to his astonishment, it spoke again. "I wait and I wait to be saved by someone who's kind, bold, and brave." The king approached the tree cautiously. "I have never heard a talking tree," he said. "How can you speak?" The tree sighed and its branches swayed gently. "I was once a princess," it said sadly. "One day, while riding through these woods, I stopped to take a sip from the waterfall, and a wicked witch cursed me to remain a tree until someone kind, bold, and brave breaks the spell." "How can I save you?" the king asked, determined to help. "You must break the curse," the tree explained. "But beware, the witch will return soon and may try to put you under the same spell." The king nodded, steeling himself for what lay ahead. As he pondered his next move, he heard footsteps approaching. Quickly, he hid behind a nearby bush. The witch appeared, her presence as foreboding as the tree had described. She was short and bony, with beady eyes that darted suspiciously around the clearing. Her cruel mouth twisted into a frown as she surveyed the area. "Who were you talking to just now?" she demanded of the tree. "Myself," the tree replied calmly. The witch's eyes narrowed. "I see footprints," she said, pointing to the ground. "Perhaps they belong to you," the tree suggested. The witch let out an angry shriek, but her outburst gave the king an idea. As the witch stormed around the clearing, the king quietly slipped away, determined to follow her. He hoped that by finding her lair, he might discover a way to break the curse. He followed her through the dense forest, keeping his distance. But as he navigated the twisting paths, a thick, enchanted fog began to roll in, obscuring his vision. the fog grew denser until he could no longer see the witch or the path ahead. Disoriented, he stumbled through the mist, struggling to find his way. When the fog finally cleared, the king found himself in an unfamiliar part of the forest. He had lost sight of the witch and had no idea where he was. As he wandered, he came upon an ogre maiden picking herbs in a small clearing. "Dear maiden," he called out, "can you tell me how to get out of this forest? I have lost my way." The maiden looked up, her eyes widening in surprise. "Poor fellow, you're in ogre country. My father will be here shortly and he will most certainly eat you up." The king's heart raced as he heard the distant thudding of ogre footsteps. Desperate for a place to hide, he pleaded with the maiden. "Please help me." The maiden, moved by the king's handsome appearance and his plea, decided to help him. "Come here," she said urgently. "I will hide you under my skirt. Don't even breathe." The king quickly hid, crouching beneath the folds of the maiden's skirt. Moments later, the ogre appeared, a hulking figure with a fierce expression. "Why are you sitting there?" the ogre demanded of his daughter. "I'm just resting a while," she replied calmly. "Oh, what tasty flesh I smell," the ogre growled. "Humans must be nearby." "A little boy went by earlier, and I ate him," the maiden lied. "Well done," said the ogre proudly. "I hope I have the same luck today." With that, he plodded on, leaving the clearing. When it was safe, the king emerged from his hiding place, grateful but still anxious. "What are you doing in these parts?" the maiden asked. The king described his encounter with the talking tree and his quest to break the curse. The maiden listened intently and then said, "I know that old witch. I can help you break the curse." The king was relieved and hopeful. The maiden led him to her father's mansion, where she took a pot of ointment from a cupboard and smeared some on him. "This charm will help you find the tree," she said, "and this enchanted axe will free the princess." She then rubbed a different ointment along the edge of the axe's blade. "What's that for?" the king asked. "It's just to keep the axe sharp," she replied. "Come and see me again soon." The king thanked the ogre maiden and set off to find the talking tree once more. As the king made his way back through the forest, the charm led him directly to the talking tree. The princess, still in her tree form, awaited him anxiously. "You have returned," she said. "Did you find a way to break the curse?" The king held up the enchanted axe. "I have a plan," he said. He explained the instructions the maiden had given him. The princess nodded. "Remember, do not listen to the witch. Strike where she tells you not to, and you will break the curse. And be sure to cut off her head, or she will enchant you too." Just then, the witch hobbled into the clearing. "What are you doing in these parts, stranger?" she asked suspiciously. "I need to chop down this tree for firewood," the king said, trying to sound nonchalant. "That tree belongs to me, but you may have it if you strike exactly where I tell you," the witch said cunningly. She pointed to a spot low on the tree. "Strike here." But instead of striking low, the king struck high. The witch's face twisted in anger. "Strike here," she said, pointing to the middle of the tree where the princess's heart was hidden. Ignoring her, the king struck low. The witch let out a furious shriek and began to mumble a curse. Before she could finish, the king swung the magic axe at her. With a flash of light, the witch vanished and the curse was broken. The tree transformed into a beautiful princess, perfect in every way, except she was made of wood. The king barely noticed that the princess was still made of wood. He was overjoyed to have saved her and took her to his castle. He sent a messenger to her kingdom to inform her parents that she was safe. In the following days, everyone in the castle was charmed by the princess. Despite her wooden appearance, her grace and kindness endeared her to all. However, whispers about her wooden face and hands began to spread. As preparations for the celebration feast were underway, the ladies-in-waiting dressed the princess and were astonished to discover that her entire body was wooden. She was a living doll. Unable to hold her tongue any longer, one of the ladies in waiting went to the king. "Your Majesty, the princess is made entirely of wood." "Perhaps the charm you were given prevents you from seeing it," suggested a minister. "And perhaps the princess is still under a curse." The king remembered the 2 ointments the ogre's daughter had smeared on him and the axe. "The ogre maiden tricked me," he declared. "The princess's parents cannot see their daughter like this. I must go to the forest again. I will return before they arrive." The king hurried back to the forest, determined to confront the ogre maiden. When he found her, she was surprised to see him. "Here is the axe you gave me," said the king, but as he handed it to her, he deliberately pricked her finger with the blade. "Ah! What have you done?" cried the maiden. "I'm turning into wood." "Oh, no," said the king, feigning concern. "Is there no cure?" "Yes," the maiden replied quickly. "There's a pot of blue ointment in that cupboard. Rub it on my hands to cure me." The king grabbed the ointment and said, "Thank you." Then he raced back to his castle, leaving the ogre maiden to turn into wood. "Thief!" she screamed, but her father was too far away to hear her cries. On his return, the king wasted no time. He rubbed the magic ointment over the princess's hands. Instantly, she began to transform back to her normal self. Her wooden exterior faded, revealing her true form. The timing was perfect. The princess's parents arrived just as the transformation was complete. They were overjoyed to see their daughter again and thanked the king profusely. The castle was filled with joy as the celebration feast began. Everyone praised the king for his bravery and cleverness in saving the princess. The kingdom rejoiced in the happy reunion of the princess with her family. The king and the princess, grateful for their new lease on life, decided to spend more time getting to know each other. The king never dared set foot in ogre country again, but he did not regret his adventure. He had learned the value of kindness, bravery, and cleverness, and these qualities became the true jewels in the crown of his collection. And so, the king and the princess lived happily ever after, their story a testament to the power of courage and love.